All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into the world of print folding operators. Getting ready for that interview. We're going to help you make a great impression.
Absolutely. We are going to look at some real interview questions, give you some strategies to answer them, really showcase your skills and passion.
And it's more than just folding brochures, right? We're talking about precision, quality control, and like a really, really sharp eye for detail. And we're going to be using our sources today. The interview and career guides and some RoleCatcher info too.
That's right. We're going to see that a lot of what we're talking about today can be used for other jobs too. But let's get started with a question that I think a lot of people trip up on. What inspired you to pursue a career as a print folding operator?
Yeah. It seems so simple, but I bet there's a lot more to it than just saying, I like working with machines.
You're right, you're right. The interviewer is trying to understand how interested you really are. And if you've thought about your career goals, a weak answer would be something like, I needed a job. But a strong answer would be about connecting your skills and passions with the role.
Okay, so how do we make that connection?
So you have to think about the skills that are highlighted in the career guide, like in the example profile. It mentions things like attention to detail, commitment to quality, the ability to work independently. So you could say something like, I've always been fascinated by how precise printing has to be. I'm a stickler for details, and I enjoy the satisfaction of doing high-quality work.
Yeah, that definitely sounds a lot more engaging than I need a job. I bet using RoleCatcher's AI feedback could be really helpful for making your answers even better.
Totally, yeah. RoleCatcher can look at what you write and point out areas you can improve,
Yeah,
add more details, that sort of thing. It's like having your own personal interview coach.
that's awesome. All right, let's move on to a question that's a bit more technical. What experience do you have operating print folding equipment?
Hmm.
Now, what if someone's totally new to these machines?
That's where you can talk about transferable skills. Even if you've never been a print folding operator, you can still think about past jobs where you learned skills that relate to this one. So have you used other machines? Have you worked on quality control before?
So maybe you worked somewhere that was really fast-paced and you had to follow very strict procedures, or maybe you had to fix some other kind of equipment. That kind of experience could be valuable too, right?
Exactly. You want to explain your past experiences in a way that shows. You can learn new things quickly and adapt to using new equipment. You could say something like, while my experience has been with, then you mention the machines you used before, I'm a fast learner, and I'm sure I can master new technologies quickly. And I'm really excited to learn from people who are experienced operators.
Yeah, showing that you're willing to learn new things is super important. It's like you're taking initiative, which actually leads us to our next question. How do you make sure that printed materials are folded correctly and meet the required specifications?
This one feels like it's really getting to the heart of what a print folding operator does.
It is. It absolutely is. Now, you can show off how much attention to detail you have and how committed you are to quality. Take the interviewer through the process, tell them how you check the specs, set up a machine, and make sure the quality's good throughout.
Would you go through every single check you do, or would you just stick to the really important ones?
I think it's all about balance. You want to be thorough but not take up too much time. Focus on checks that show your skills, like how you can spot errors or your knowledge of different folding techniques.
Okay, I got it. So maybe something like, I would carefully look at the job requirements, and I would double-check the machine setup for each fold. And during the process, I'd check the finished pieces regularly to make sure they're the right size and meet quality standards. Perfect. You just explained that you pay close attention to detail, and that meeting quality standards is really important to you.
Awesome. Okay, now here's a question that really tests your problem-solving skills. How would you handle equipment malfunctions or breakdowns? I mean, everyone's had a printer jam at home, but imagine that happening on a big production line.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. Here, the interviewer is trying to see more than just your technical knowledge. They want to see if you can stay calm in a stressful situation. Think fast and take charge.
So should you walk them through the steps of how you'd troubleshoot the problem?
Yes, definitely. But you got to take it a step further. You need to show them that you get the bigger picture. You could say, first, I'd try to figure out what's causing the problem. I'd look for simple things like paper jams or settings that are wrong. And if I couldn't figure it out quickly, I'd tell my supervisor and the maintenance team so that we could get things running smoothly again and reduce any downtime.
I like that. It shows that you're not just thinking about fixing the machine, but also how it affects the whole operation.
Exactly. It shows you're proactive and a good team player. And don't forget that RoleCatcher can help you tailor your answer to different jobs.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It can find those keywords like troubleshooting or preventative maintenance and suggest ways to include them in your answer.
Precisely. Now let's move on to a question that we'll probably hear in a lot of interviews. Can you tell me about a time you had to work with a difficult colleague or customer?
Oh, yeah, the dread behavioral question. I bet everyone has at least one story about this. But how do you tell it in a way that makes the interviewer happy?
The best way is to use something called the STAR method, which stands for situation, task, action, and result. It helps you organize your answer. So instead of just rambling, you're giving a clear example of your skills.
Okay, break that down for me.
So first, you describe the situation you were in. Then you explain the task you had to do. Then you talk about the action you took to deal with the situation. And finally, you tell them the result of what you did.
Okay, so let's say you had a coworker who was always late with their part of a project, and that was making you miss deadlines.
That's a perfect example. You've got the situation all set up. Your task would be to keep the project on track and meet all the deadlines.
Got it. What about the action?
So instead of just complaining, you could say, I talked to my colleague about it. Yeah, I told them I was worried, but I also listened to what problems they might be having. Hey, and then we worked together to make a new schedule and communication plan.
So right there, you've shown communication skills, problem solving, and teamwork all at once. What about the result?
The best result would be that your colleagues started meeting deadlines. The project got done on time, and you two actually started working better together. You turned something bad into something good, and you showed that you can deal with tricky people.
Yeah, I can see how useful the STAR method is. It's not just telling a story. You're showing off your skills and experience in a smart way.
You got it. And remember, even if you haven't been a print folding operator before, you can still use stories from other jobs or volunteer work. It's all about those transferable skills.
This is great. We've talked about important interview questions, we learned about the STAR method, and how RoleCatcher can help us with AI. But before we finish this part of our deep dive, I want to talk a bit more about the career path itself.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's not just about getting the job. You should understand where it can lead you in the future. We'll talk about that more in the next part of our deep dive. So, welcome back. We were just talking about what it's like to have a career as a print folding operator. And it's something you should think about when you're getting ready for your interview.
Right. You don't just want the job. You want to show them that you see yourself growing with the company.
Exactly. Employers want to see that you're invested in the company's future and that you want to grow along with it. The career guide actually lays out the different stages of a print folding operator's career, which can give you some good things to talk about in your interview.
Okay, let's talk about those stages. What does the career guide say?
Well, it talks about three main stages: entry-level, junior, and senior. And as you move up through the stages, you get more responsibility and the expectations get higher.
Okay, let's start with entry level. What does a normal day look like for someone just starting out?
Well, at the entry level, you're really focused on learning the basics. You'll be operating the folding machine, watching the production process, doing some simple maintenance and making sure the quality's good. You're learning the ropes and building a strong foundation.
So you're showing them that you can handle the daily tasks and that you're eager to learn more. So what happens when you move up to junior print folding operator?
As a junior operator, you start taking on more responsibility. You'll be setting up the machines and getting them ready for different paper sizes and folds. You might even fix some small problems with the machines. And you might start training those entry-level operators.
Oh, well. So it's not just about running the machine. You need to actually understand how it works and be able to teach other people. What does it take to get to that senior level?
To reach the senior level, you need to be a leader and an expert. You'll be managing the whole print folding operation, creating procedures, training and mentoring the junior operators, and you'll be working with management to make production better.
Wow, that's a lot of responsibility. It sounds like there's a lot of room to grow in this field. But how do you show the interviewer that you're committed to learning and growing?
Well, there are a few ways you can really make a good impression. First, you can show that you're keeping up with what's happening in the industry. Talk about any events you've been to, online resources you use, or any courses you've taken.
So like, I could say, I read Folding and Finishing magazine, and I'm part of some online groups where print folding operators share tips and talk about new technology.
That's great. You've shown them that you're actively involved in the industry. It's even better if you can talk about a specific article or trend you found interesting.
Oh, I see. Like I read this really interesting article about digital finishing techniques. It made me think about how we could use those advancements to improve our work and be more creative.
Perfect. You've shown that you're not just reading stuff, you're actually thinking about it and what it means.
This is making a lot of sense. But what if you're new to all of this
Yeah.
and you don't have a lot of experience with those resources? What if you're still learning?
Just be honest and enthusiastic. You can say something like, right now I'm checking out industry publications like Printing News, and I'm really looking forward to connecting with experienced operators to learn what resources they use.
So it's about showing them you're willing to take initiative, you're thirsty for knowledge, you're not just there for a paycheck, you're there to build a career.
Exactly. And this caution actually relates back to what we were talking about before. The interviewer wants to know that you see yourself growing as a print folding operator and that you're willing to learn and grow to stay ahead of the game.
It's about showing them you're not just an operator. You're a professional who's dedicated to this job.
Exactly. And before we move on, I just want to mention RoleCatcher again. It's really helpful throughout the whole job search process.
It's like having a secret weapon. From making your resume to getting your answers ready for interviews, RoleCatcher can really help you look your best.
And it's not just about this one interview. The skills we're talking about today, like solving problems, communication, and always learning new things, those are important in any job.
That's so true. The printing industry is changing, but working hard and striving for excellence will always be important.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about a question that often comes up near the end of an interview. It's a chance to leave a really good impression.
You're talking about how to keep up with the changes in print folding technology, right?
You got it. Welcome back to the final part of our print folding operator interview prep. So we're going to tackle a question that often comes up near the end of an interview. It's a chance for you to really make a lasting impression. And the question is, how do you stay up to date with changes and advancements in print folding technology?
Yeah, it's not just about working the machines, right? You have to show them that you actually love what you do,
Oh,
and you're always trying to learn new things.
that's exactly it. The printing industry is constantly changing. There's always new technology and better ways of doing things. And if you don't try to stay up to date, you'll get left behind.
Okay, so how do we answer this question in a way that really impresses the interviewer? What are they looking for here?
Being specific is really important. Don't just say vague things like, I read industry magazines. Actually, name specific publications, websites, or even social media groups, places where you get your information about the industry.
So I could say something like, I'm subscribed to Folding and Finishing magazine, and I'm also part of a few online groups where print folding operators share advice and discuss new technologies.
That's a fantastic start. You've shown them that you're actively involved in the industry. And it's even better if you can mention a specific article or trend that you found interesting recently.
Oh, like, I recently read this fascinating article about how digital finishing techniques are becoming more popular.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me think about how those advancements could really streamline our work and open up new creative possibilities for us.
That's brilliant. You've demonstrated that you're not just reading things passively, you're really thinking about what you read and how it might apply to your work.
This is all making so much sense. But what if I'm new to the field and I haven't had time to explore all these resources? What if I'm still building my knowledge?
Honesty is always best,
Yeah.
and show them that you're enthusiastic. You could say something like, I'm currently checking out industry publications like Printing News, and I'm really excited to connect with more experienced operators and learn about the resources they use.
So it's about showing them that you're taking initiative and that you're really hungry to learn. You're not just looking for any job, you want a career.
You got it. And this question actually relates back to what we talked about earlier, about how to advance in your career. The interviewer wants to see that you're thinking about your future as a print folding operator, and that you're willing to work hard to stay on top of things.
Right, you want to show them you're not just an operator, you're dedicated to your profession.
Exactly. And as we wrap up this deep dive, I just want to stress how important RoleCatcher is. It can really help you throughout your whole job search.
It's like having a secret weapon. From writing your resume to perfecting your interview answers, RoleCatcher helps you show your best side.
Absolutely. And the skills we talked about today, like problem solving, communication, and continuous learning, those are valuable in any job, not just in printing.
That's so true. The printing world might be changing, but being a hard worker and striving for excellence never goes out of style.
So to everyone listening who's getting ready for their print folding operator interviews, be confident, be prepared, and let your passion shine through.
We know you're going to do great. And remember, we're here to help you every step of the way. Good luck, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the world of work.